mask, so that's all awesome. We get to see her fantastic smile. And spawning in the top left-hand side for the Shopify Rebellion, it is Scarlett.
You're telling me there is a chance Twitch chat may actually be talking about the games? Well, I'm extra excited now. In the bottom right side of Lightshade, we are looking at the main base of our Canadian Terran player, a very smart cookie. It is Semper.
Okay, TVC, Lightshade. We know that Scarlett doesn't shy away from roaches. Oftentimes, she will have that in her toolkit. This is a map that can lend itself towards that that type of style. Ooh, indeed. You know,
I did not expect this at all. Even though you mentioned roaches, and that's definitely something we've seen Scarlett do quite frequently. I actually feel that Scarlett has always been a bit more of a Ling Bane player than roaches. She will only do roaches if she truly believes that that's her best shot at winning. But I think Scarlett is confident enough that she thinks she can use multiple styles and still end up on top in this best of 3. And then I always think of Scarlett as the 95 drone Zerg, double Evo, 2-2 upgrades, go up to Hive, you know, the kind of fun stuff for Zerg players.
Yeah, her range is, I mean, yeah, she's been around for like 10 years. Definitely not a rookie, this one. And yeah, I mean, she can definitely do all of it. But I think what this was with the gas pool here was basically just accounting for the potential for proxy racks. We were talking a lot about Massa and how Scarlett tends to lose to Massa. A lot of those times, it's just proxy barracks that she has been vocal about disliking. So we've seen like Dolan, for example, trying to proxy racks her as well. So it's not unlikely that she feels like players might feel like that's one weakness or one way that others can take her down, and just goes for the very quick link speed and pull first.
Semper is too pure though. He's too sweet. I feel like he's not much of a 2-rex. I'm sure he does it once in a blue moon, but if I think of Semper, I really don't think of a Terran that's likely to 2-rex or 3-rex. But Scarlett is still gonna potentially find some success with her links on the other side of the map, because the Reaper is already in her natural. That obviously means that these links can start nibbling away at this SCV. Semper is very quick to respawn though, and pulls the SCV away immediately. You don't want to lose any SCVs here.
Yeah, I'm staring at the production tab right now to see if Scarlett is going to choose to commit. It doesn't look like it, as she's going to sacrifice this link, but she has delayed the CC enough and does have the speed on the way, so that was always a potential option. And the CC is actually not nearly completed either. Maybe if she had a couple of extra links or had already made some preemptively, she could have denied it a second time and then flooded.
Well, 10 extra links at this point is a few more than we normally see, that's for sure. It's 3 minutes into the game. And yeah, you want to have a couple of safety links to deal with a Reaper, but this is a few more links. And I think Scarlett is really going to try to delay that command center even further. She's going to be slightly too late for that. But if you surround the Marines and you catch the first Hellion, then it's still going to be quite nice. But it is a bit risky what Scarlett is doing here, but at least it's going to give us an action-packed early game.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and actually the factory is being lifted off. Oh my god, the Reaper on the other side still, and the Hellion here gets picked up for free. So this is not looking good, as there's a few links now surrounding this bunker or this supply depot. That SCV can't quite repair it. And yeah, things are looking great for Scarlett to start.
Actually, very quick thinking there though by Semper to just temporarily build an eBay there to make sure that the Zerglings don't run into the main base and things get even more awkward. But this is obviously not the start that Semper had in mind. Well done by Scarlett, though.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is fantastic for Scarlett. You're right. Great crisis management from Semper. At the same time, doesn't quite replenish the supply depot on time, so we'll have to use a supply drop as he builds the new one. He is trying to make Hellions and just leave them back for the time being. But yeah, a very, very scary, unexpected poke from Scarlett.
Yep, I mean, losing one of the Hellions is going to be extra painful if we want to follow this up with a Hellbat timing. And that is absolutely what this is starting to look like. Semper is going up to 5 Hellions, may even try to build a few more. And there is an armory going up in the back of the main base. But Scarlett already has her Baneling Nest close to finishing up. And I think Scarlett can just morph a couple of Banes and be more than fine against whatever aggression Semper really decides to throw at her.
Yeah, look at the timing as well on this Overlord. It's going to spot the potential for the Banshee Cloak follow-up. And it kind of has to be a Banshee at this point. And even if you cancel that Banshee and you try to do something else, you're going to be floating a lot of gas. So Semper's kind of committed to either this or something like Ravens. And Scarlett's certainly going to be ready for it, already dropping one spore at the front.
Yeah, and I mean, losing a couple of Marines early on is obviously painful too, because now it's just Hellbats, and all that Scarlett really needs to do is just run away for a split second with her queens, buy some time. Scarlett even confident enough to send her extra links to the other side of the map. Semper is paying attention though, so he's not gonna let these links surround his Hellions, but this doesn't really make it any better for our Terran player.
Yeah, at least very good micro there. Will actually pick off a lot of those links with just the two Hellions going in the cracks of those minerals. So Semper with very good presence of mind to do exactly just that, but not enough damage found on the other side of the map. Maybe this follow-up drop can do something. There is one Overlord to spot for Scarlett. Doesn't cover the entire area though, so it's gonna come down to pathing here a little bit. Semper will fly right over it.
Yeah, Scarlett is already putting her queen in position to potentially receive the bench. Instead, it's going to be the Hellions. I kind of hope for Semper that he kills 10 plus drones here, because then we have a game. Well, actually, can I make it 15 drones, cats? No, we're going to morph into Hellbats. I actually think that's the wrong choice, because we just had to go for Hell or Glory here. But now it seems like we're kind of trying to set up for a little bit of damage. And even if this turns out to be nice, it is never going to be good enough. And losing the medevac like that in the main base is not good enough. The Hellbats in the third base get a couple of drones, but it's looking very, very dire.
Yeah, the medevac as well falls. So the options of Semper here are evaporating before our eyes. He tried to do his best. Yeah, I agree with you. I would have just liked to seen the Hellions. Obviously, then the medevac can kind of be a little bit dangerous. You kind of just have to leave it to the side. But all in all, I think what Semper was maybe trying to do is pull the queens and then run in with the Hellions at the third or something of the likes, right? Like, I still do like the Hellions a little bit better just because he's so far behind.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is not one of these moments where you can go for unit retention or try to kill a queen and be okay with it. Like, no. Semper knew that the early game was not good enough. Then I think you just have to roll the dice. And yeah, hope that you can hit the jackpot. Hope that Scarlett units are out of position and you can get a couple of magnificent shots up on the drones. Because anything less than 10 drones there was just not going to be good enough ever. But when you morph them into Hellbats, you basically give Scarlett so much time that it's very unlikely you're gonna even get a single drone. And given how the early game went, I don't think that was the correct choice. Even if this would have been all right in a different game, I think with the way that this game has played out, you just have to pray and hope you get lucky.
All right, there's gonna be burrowed Widow Mines all over the place with also the upgrade for them. So they're gonna be the tunneling claws, so they're gonna be quicker. What are they? What is that upgrade called actually?
Drilling claws.
Drilling claws, tunneling claws.
Tunneling claws is for the roaches.
Yeah.
I'm not good with my upgrade names, by the way, mate, but those are two that I do know.
All right. Well, we'll see some creep being cleared here on the side of Semper, and has a very good mine there, but Scarlett too quick will actually retreat and tank it with her Overseer, which just gets healed right after. And again, oh my god.
Get out of here. A lot of Banelings rolling into the third as well while this is going on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Scarlett just is having the time of her life. Even keeping the Overseer alive after it tanked not one, but two Widow Mine shots. She's just showboating at this.
Really? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Just let that Overseer die at least.
Yeah, come on. Give him a victory, Scarlett.
Keep a little bit of your energy. No need to do everything perfectly. As you're doing a run-by, she's just too good.
Yeah, Scarlett really is very good. I mean, once she finds her comfort zone in this matchup, I think there are very few who do it better. Still think about the games he had against Innovation on this map not too long ago at the season finals of Fall. Really felt that could have been another magical Scarlett one. And quarterfinals was good, but it felt that she could have secured that ticket into the semifinals with a trio victory. We do have a little bit of a win of my... Oh, I like the on-burrow there. That's a great final shut-off. 9 drones is nice. Doesn't change the fact that Semper is still 18 workers behind him. With the amount of hatcheries that Scarlett has right now, I think even losing 9 drones is really no biggie.
Yeah, she definitely is. A big game player will grow in the face of people doubting her oftentimes. So right now, though, looking as confident as ever. And a little bit of creep will be receding here. So this is an important position, I guess, for Semper, but it's not like he really has tanks or anything to really exploit this position. He does have double factory mine production. So I guess he's hoping, and Scarlett is going for the type of army composition that will suffer against this. But yeah, Widow Mines, but the Marines are also getting surrounded at the same time. Lifted off now, and pretty decent first connection. The second one kind of uneventful, and now Scarlett, knowing that the units are loaded in, will crush into the bunker or into the supply depots. Now going for the SCVs at the natural base. We'll find a couple of connections, but maybe not what she was hoping for. Still massively ahead.
I think Semper handled that quite well, especially because he didn't know about the Banelings at first. He thought it was just the Zerglings he had to worry about, but yeah, it still really feels that this is a one-way train. Scarlett can just throw wave after Semper, and the only thing that Semper can really hope for is to stabilize on 3 bases, get a couple of phenomenal Widowmine connections, and then maybe get a great fight once the 2-2 upgrades finish up, but I think Semper also knows that the writing is kind of on the wall for this one. Even though the army supplies are somewhat close, a Terran being behind in upgrades is never a good place to be in this matchup.
Yeah, most definitely. Scarlett is also nearing max now, 172 supply, 90 workers. You were talking about how you like her on 90 workers and another 15 less for her opponent to work with now, courtesy of those Baneling Rambis. So 18 SCVs go down. At the same time, the mines, for the first time in the game, it feels like on the offense are gonna find a few drones worth of damage.
We almost lost the orbital to Zerglings and Banelings. I mean, Semper was able to lift it in the end there. Scarlett is actually a little bit behind in army supply now. Let's see if the Widowmines can get some good shots up. Instead, it's going to be the Banelings that get absolutely perfect connections, and Semper just knows there is no stopping the Zerg train that is Scarlett anymore here on Lightshade. Yeah, I feel that Scarlett kind of won that in the first 4 minutes. But the initial 4 links were nice because you got a bit of a delay on the command center, 1 SCV. But I think it's the follow-up 10 Zerglings that were just absolute cash money. Get the depot, get 2 of the Hellions, force the command center to not be used for a little while. That's all that Scarlett needs, man.
Yeah, a couple of SCVs. Yeah, I mean, when she is such a heavy favorite, it's going to be difficult to come back against her. But props to Semper. I mean, army composition-wise, I really liked what he was doing, right? Like the double factory mine, I think is one of the better answers to this type of style. And we saw some good connections, just not nearly enough to bring him back into it, sadly.
No, at that point, it is sweeping leaves on a windy day. For every Zergling you kill, 4 more show up, and it doesn't really matter where you look, Cats. You can't get rid of them. Scarlett just too rich. When she's on 5 bases, macro hatchery, ahead in upgrades. I mean, that's just what Zerg players like to do. And these are, I think, the most enjoyable games to play if you are Zerg, where you can just throw wave after wave. You can truly be the swarm the way that Zerg was meant to be played.
Yeah, outstanding as well with the creep, right? It's just a never-ending virus towards your opponent. And when you're in that flow, it really feels good and it really feels like you're in control. And then, you know, you find the time to make those maneuvers where Scarlett was just healing that Overseer. I mean, just let it die, Roddy. Like,
yeah. We've had a couple of funny moments like that today. Like, obviously, the ZVZ between Elaser and Denver will for always be the highlight of today. That was one of the craziest and wildest games we've seen in a long time on Oxide. If you guys joined us later, go back into the VOD. Make sure to check that out. But hey, I feel like quite a few players actually showed off some cool micro moves, and this was just another one.
Yeah, those are always really fun to see. We get to see a little bit more than that, perhaps, on NA, even though, or from the very top Europeans. Of course, the NA players will sometimes not be as good about their macro while pulling those moves off, but they're certainly willing to try, and some of them are amazing. This NA player, however, no one can dispute her incredible macro to back up her incredible micro. It is Scarlett.
In the bottom left side of Blackburn, we are looking at the main base of our Canadian Terran player, down 0-1 in this best of 3, but still 2-2 in this group. It is Semper. Take a look who Semper has left after Semper goes up against Scarlett. So the last 2 best of 3s for Semper will be Paddy Mac and Pure Legacy. So there's absolutely still a chance for Semper to end this group with 4 wins and 3 losses, assuming that this best of 3 will go in favor of Scarlett. And that could be good enough to sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. 4 wins would be rather solid. Is there other people close in contention there?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that Trigger will most likely end up with 4 wins and 3 losses. And well, Paddy Mac is going to be hard. Masa could end up with that score. So I feel like there are a couple of players in contention for top 4, but yeah, the dream will not be that for Semper if he loses here by any means.
Alrighty, well, I'm sure he'd rather at least get 1 point on the board. It sounds like it's pretty close, so a map would be fantastic. Could it be Blackburn? rumored to be one of the Terran maps on release, but since Zergs have started liking it more and more.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's good for mech. That's what Reina keeps on telling the world. And Maru did display us some phenomenal mech play at the season finals of the DreamHack Masters in fall, I believe. No, not fall, summer. When he played against Reina in the grand finals, Maru really had a beautiful mech game here. And I don't want to say he made Reina look hopeless, but it did feel like that was Maru's game all along. And I could see why Reina thinks that this is a very good map for mech. But obviously, yeah, to be able to execute that kind of stuff, you need to practice it a lot. And if you're just a bio player, you don't suddenly look at Blackburn and be like, oh yeah, let's play a 25-minute mech game against Scarlett.
Yeah, I don't think that I've seen much mech from Semper. I do think that this is a pretty cool mech map because of a lot of its features and the proximity between the two players. But I mean, it's not terrible for bio either, right? Like, and as far as Zerg, I think Zerg has a lot of options. That's maybe why they're starting to like it more and more. Roaches are definitely strong. What happened?
Great start, man. Semper obviously being able to prevent that drone from morphing into a hatchery, getting the eBay block. Scarlett canceled the extractor, and then the Reaper actually got the kill on the drone. So it's going to be a bit difficult for Scarlett to go up to 3 hatcheries, even though she was able to find not just 1, but 2 SCVs apparently in total.
Yeah, and they were SCVs making the command center as well, or at least one of them was. So that's extra painful as well for Semper. I'm not sure whose early game I like better, given all things. It seems like Semper has lost a little bit more. And yeah, Scarlett gets delayed at the 3rd a little bit, but so does Semper at his natural.
Yeah. If that didn't happen, then I'd be like, whoa, this is a sweet start for Semper. But Scarlett wouldn't be Scarlett if she didn't manage to sneak in a little victory somewhere. This time, apparently, off the back of just 2 Zerglings.
Yeah, Semper is going to be on the lookout for those. He's going to be searching for them. Not sure that he's going to go that far, though, so Scarlett will get away with it.
It became personal between Semper and those 2 Zerglings.
Yeah. Not worth his energy, though, as he's just going to look back to the front of the creep spread of Scarlett and try to prevent it. Scarlett pushing one of her queens forward, kind of puffing up her chest, saying, this is my creep.
Yep, Semper does have his 3rd command center already finishing up in his main base, so he's going to get a much better economy this time around. The 2 links do sneak in there. I don't know if they managed to see everything. Let me just double check that. No, actually only saw the 2 barracks, which obviously is a scout, don't get me wrong, but would have been better for Scarlett. I'm sure that she would have loved to confirm that that command center is there, or the timing on the factory and the starport.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the 2 barracks is going to be a little bit of a tell as far as like what Semper can do, and should anticipate that when he has enough for those 2 medevacs perhaps to be filled, that there will be such a follow-up. So that'll be helpful, but like you said, not knowing the exact timings is also going to complicate things a little bit more than maybe just knowing exactly when you're going to get hit.
Scarlett has dropped the roach one, so we are going to see some roaches in this best of 3. There are the 2 evolution chambers as well. Scarlett, her economy is already closing in on 60 drones. It really is quite sweet this early on. Semper is going to try to find some damage as soon as the first 2 medevacs are out. But I think at that point, he's going to be greeted by a lot of queens and roaches.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see what he has to do here on defense as well. Lucky for him, he is taking the vertical base. I like that one a lot better than the triangle against roaches in particular. Obviously, roaches are rather slow units, and that's why on this map they are kind of viable. Rogue used them a lot in a GSL finals against Maru and showed just how strong they can be. And so I like Terrans adapting and kind of foregoing that triangle because it can be rather dangerous. Roaches will benefit from breaking rocks on this map, so we'll see if Scarlett is on top of that as the game progresses.
I am amazed by how quickly Scarlett gets her economy up and running. Even if that Reaper was annoying, picked off a drone early on. With the eBay block, we got a bit of a delay on the 3rd hatchery going down. So you think like, maybe Scarlett won't be that far ahead economically. And you blink twice and Scarlett is more than 20 workers ahead. You wonder where it all went wrong. Snap cancel there, my goodness, that was such a quick cancel by Scarlett. I actually thought maybe Semper was going to get lucky and get a kill on that hatchery. Did not quite work out, but at least a cancel and a couple of drones.
Yeah, no use in soaking up additional damage if she's going to be paying attention, so just showing how quick her reactions are here, as there was never going to be roach reinforcements in time to save that hatchery. So a tiny win there for Semper regardless, kind of identifying that and further delaying the 4th base of Scarlett. That's something. and is situating his third. Also identifying roaches, making bunkers. Beautiful tank position on the high ground.
Yes.
I don't hate the setup.
I definitely don't hate it either, but I am afraid that this is going to be one of these moments where Scarlett is going to have legitimately 110 or 120 army supply, and Semper is going to be hovering around 60. Now, then the tank shots are going to have to be proper juicy in the heart of big clumps of roaches, otherwise you just get overwhelmed. If you look at the production now, Scarlett's already at 90 army supply, and there are way more roaches on the way.
Yeah, she has stopped the drone production for the time being at 66. So we'll see if Semper stands a little bit of a chance here to stabilize. If he holds off Semper supply blocked.
No, Scarlett actually at 170, 174 overlords on the way. So Scarlett is going to be floating a little bit of money, but she can obviously morph more roaches into ravages. And this is just kind of it. At this point, it's 104 supply against 56. Scarlett is going to fire up her 2-2 upgrades and take out all the destructible debris. And drop a a Hydra Den and an Infestation Pit at the same time, and drones behind this. But we're still going to try to find some success with all these roaches and ravages with their 1-1 upgrades.
I love the Hellbat morph there. A very heads-up play from Semper. It's going to be a little consequence, but it's enough that it's worth doing. The Hellbats are going to provide a little bit more chunkiness than the Hellions, and he's just looking to provide a little bit of a front line for these tanks in the back. And the angle for Scarlett, I mean, it's not as ideal as if Semper was set up on that triangle. So I'm a little bit surprised that she ends up going for this attack. Of course, she's super strong to the max out, but still a little bit shy just positioning wise to go in here.
Yeah, I think if she would have gone for it immediately, if she wasn't supply blocked, there is a chance that she would have been able to pick up the tanks. But in this way, what she did do is obviously keep Semper at home, buy some time for her hive to get started, the Lurker Den to go down after the Hydra Den finished up. And now the tanks are a bit more exposed because she was coming in from the top side. So if the roaches and ravages go for it one more time, they may be able to reset the tank count. Nice connection down the Widowmine.
A lot of them though. There's 6 tanks. Yeah, I like this drop from Semper right now, because if he can manage to get a cancel or do a little bit of damage onto the gold, and Scarlett is still across the map with her army, that is to say, if she can't answer these medevacs fast, then she would be forced almost to at least attempt at an attack, and that's where Semper could have gotten an advantage. But unfortunately for Semper, Scarlett's gonna smell something. I don't know how she smelled it, but she did. She just checks up the ramp really quick. There was no vision of overlords or anything like that there. That spots the army of Semper, and that will be deflected for the time being. Smart move by Semper, though, to poke back in as well.
Exactly. I mean, Semper is active with a couple of bio units at the bottom side. We throw it on a scan. We push the creep back a little bit. Those medevacs are still flying around, and now Scarlett, most of her units are on the bottom side, so maybe there is still an opportunity for these Marines to get a cancel. Might get the Queen and a cancel, or even a kill on this hatchery. If Scarlett lets the hatchery finish up. No,
yeah, a little bit of a flank of the Queens there, but the medevacs will end up surviving. On the other side, there is that creep clearing expedition that's going to get greeted by the full army of Scarlett. But Semper now nearing 200 supply. The problem, like you were alluding to earlier, is that Scarlett is going to be going for lurkers and the likes now. Semper trying to kill the drone desperately. But Scarlett again showing off. She doesn't want to bring a new drone here. That's too much of a waste of time.
I like how Scarlett has 201 supply at this point. We haven't seen that in a while. This used to really be meta in Wings of Liberty. I remember when DreamHack once upon a time got up to like 234 supply, and everyone was like, oh my god! And then he still lost against the maxed out Protoss because there were no Vipers in that game. And Corruptor still had energy, so they all got feedback, but it was cool.
Yeah, for sure. It was a little bit more of a tactic that people were willing to go for before. Now I feel like people are just a little bit better, right? Like to where they say, yeah, I mean, the army supply, if you really want an army that big, maybe you should have just mined out the map a little bit better earlier and max out with a low drone count at that point or something of the type.
Yeah, I still think there are moments where it could be kind of cool to just morph like 20 Spore Crawlers, morph a bunch of your Hydras into Lurkers, get up to 220 plus supply, and then cancel the Spores. Like, I'm actually surprised we just rarely see it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels really bad, though, because, like, when you do stuff like that, and then your 10 links that were doing a run by die doing nothing, and then you're back to, like, 205 supply, and you just went through all the trouble and the money to do that, it feels terrible, right? Like, if you're gonna do it, it has to be, like, right before attacking with the full brunt of your army, but a lot of the time as a circular spread, like, you have, like, just run bys and stuff like that are dying all over the place, like these roaches, for example, right? Like,
all those SCVs are clumped up. I'm so glad that Semper decided to unsiege his tanks there. Otherwise, he would have one-shot at 15 of his own SCVs The armies are flirting with each other in the center of the map. Semper's got a good army. The problem is, though, that he has no answer for Vipers. Scarlett decided to go up to 4 Vipers. I think they all have quite a bit of energy. Yeah, they're close to being maxed out on energy. This is going to be one happy Abduct party, and even Blinding Cloud is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, either or will work out fine here. Semper, I'm not sure if he's aware of the Vipers. Good job here, splitting a little bit of his army to threaten this gold, but that Spore is a nuisance, as are the 2 Spines. One of them has been taken down, but the other one still remains. Now the army being chased by Scarlett here at the top, and I'm not sure if that opens up any possibilities for Semper in the middle, because there's still Lurkers and those Vipers.
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to just run into Lurkers, and tanks are also not an army that you can just bomb rush into a Zerg base on creep. Semper is going to throw down a scan. Like, if you have a bunch of ghosts, then obviously say, yes, it does open an opportunity. You can throw down some snipes, maybe land a couple of EMPs on the Vipers, but none of that happened. We are going to see the first Abduct, and I'm afraid that it's going to be the first of many. These Vipers will just go completely uncontested.
Yeah, Semper, I mean, he might feel like he has a timing right now because so much of that energy was spent, so it might be now or never. It seems like he's going to choose never, as he's going to run with his tail between his legs while he gets ghosts, though. So now that's going to be his new timing. He's going to look for big EMPs onto those Vipers, and then maybe.
The Vipers have both their hive upgrades. We're going to get a few more Abducts. 2 of the 3 Vipers that were in the front do get picked off, though, so that's kind of nice for Semper. That's going to give him some time. Scarlett will immediately rebuild those Vipers. The lurking count at this point is at 6. That's not crazy high yet, but I think Scarlett is just waiting for an opportunity to get rid of some more Roaches, maybe even some Ravages. And then we can just have an even better time with more Lurkers and maybe some Broodlords down the line.
Broodlords would be great, as that Greater Spire is starting to be produced as well. They will be very, very good with tanks, or with tanks in these high numbers. At the same time, Scarlett has been kind of resetting the tank count herself, right? Like, not a very high... Oh, actually, it's at 14. So Semper maybe has a chance here to make something happen before Broodlords if he is able to hit some of these EMPs or snipes onto the Vipers. The Ghosts undetected actually will go straight up for snipes. Beautiful, beautiful moves.
Yep, that's really cool. A little bit sloppy by Scarlett to have her overseer that far out of attention and or out of position, and obviously have no Spore crawling nearby. That was nice for Semper, but I still think that doesn't mean you can just go through these slow zones. Scarlett has 7,000 minerals, 2.5k gas, and she's got 16 drones in production. Can you explain this to me, Katz?
I cannot. Yeah, I don't think she needs a lot of drones right now, but maybe she feels like this game is gonna extend. The Lurkers are now falling without not much of the surge buffer there that was actually trying to deny this base from going up on the side of Semper. And I do like that Semper is taking this base because he's kind of making the map a little bit smaller for Scarlett. He will be able to be on the aggressive while defending at the same time. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle of paying attention as well, and where you allocate that attention. Are you going to be looking out for those abducts? Are you going to be able to get the MPs, snipes to punish?
Yeah, it almost did feel that the moment you do manage to pick off 3 out of 4 Vipers and there is not that much energy anymore, maybe that was the moment for Semper to be a bit more adventurous. Because you know, if time goes by, then no matter how cool that move was, you're going to have to go up against more Vipers, and they simply are the scariest unit to face. We do see another abduct on one of these tanks. Scarlett has a lot of Spore crawlers too at this point, 18. So I don't think lack of detection is going to be a problem anymore.
Yeah, for sure not. Good EMP, they're finally onto those Vipers. So right now there's a timing where none of the Vipers actually have energy. This could be the opportunity for Semper to creep back or creep forward and take back a little bit more of his very well-deserved space. That's exactly what he's going to do with these tanks. But it's a very narrow window. Now the Viper's back with energy, at least a couple of them. That abduct may be unnecessary as the Lurker had it.
Oh no. We're going to steam forward here. Nice blinding cloud by Scarlett. That's absolutely perfect. It's going to keep her Lurkers alive. And it's going to force Semper to just retreat once more. At the same time, Scarlett is having some fun with a couple of Roaches with Tunnel and Claws on the top left side. And I was just looking at the unit's lost resource tab. And Semper has actually lost 4,000 resources more. That is incredibly rare in this matchup in a 17-minute game. It really just goes to show how good Scarlett is with this composition.
Yeah, the one good thing for Semper, I guess, is that Scarlett is still at just at 75 workers. It's a healthy economy, but it's a lot invested.
I mean, Scarlett does have 10k minerals in the bank and almost 5k gas. So I think.
Yeah, for sure. But Semper also has a healthy economy. Like, he has good income. Is my point. So I think he can withstand or trade still. Like, I don't think he's completely out of the game. This attack is looking a little bit dangerous though.
Yeah, a lot of these SCVs, unfortunately, a bit misrallied. They're going to run straight into the Roaches and Ravages. I mean, I actually kind of like that Scarlett only has 75 drones, which is still a lot. But when you have this much money in the bank, I honestly think it's silly to have like 90 drones.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah, I'm not saying that she should have more or less drones. I'm just saying the economies are still kind of even, and Semper has a decent base count and is creeping towards Scarlett. So if he can continue to do this, then there's still hope for him.
I mean, if we can slowly but steady mine out our side of the map, then I do think you make a very valid point. But I don't think Scarlett is going to let it drag on for that long. So he's getting a couple of extra upgrades. Her 2 upgrades are finishing up. So he is being active. I do feel that Scarlett says, all right, you have that base at 6. That's nice. Job well done. You have it secured. But I don't think Scarlett is ever going to let Semper mine up the goal.
All right, yeah, it's not looking likely over here. Scarlett is going to move here with most of her army. And Semper not able to really make any progress on the south either. So these Ravagers are going to prevent the gold mining. And Liberator's trying to find some damage. This hatchery is bruised. And the mineral line will just be evacuated in time. One lurker will pay the price, though.
There are still 19 sport crawlers on the map, 2 spines. A couple of queens do get obliterated in the center. Scarlett, her supply actually plummeting now as a few lurkers and queens went down, I guess. I mean, Semper now has a army supply advantage. I feel like Scarlett is just kind of wondering, what units do I want to make? And she decides that it's time for 12 Broodlords.
Yeah, and that's a scary, scary army. I mean, maybe if Semper can find some amazing... I don't even know. I mean, there's very little Vikings to speak of. The ghosts, they don't really have a strong anchor here at the front. There's not that many of them. It's definitely going to be difficult. Semper does find a base, though, at the north. That's nice for him. And he has situated a lot of his army to protect potentially his upward expanding. The problem is that might leave him open in the south. Scarlett not yet exploiting that, though.
Where are the Broodlords? They are just kind of chilling at Scarlett, her gold base. He's just not using them. You don't see that very often. Zerg play with 12 Broodlords. Scarlett is going to try to get some value out of her lurkers as he abducts a few tanks. I mean, Scarlett is not using her entire army. I feel that if Semper can ever get up to, let's say, 15 ghosts maxed out on energy, then I actually believe. I just think 5 or 6 ghosts, that's never going to cut it. But there are a few more on the way, and there is a bit of free supply. If you can get up to 15 ghosts, I think Semper is good in late game. Then, cats, I'll start maybe believing a tiny bit. I won't get carried away, no sweet baby dreams, but that ghost count just needs to increase by quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an uphill battle for Semper. There's no doubt about that. He does have a very complex army to work with. He has been trading worse than Scarlett. He has mined a little bit less than her probably as well. It's not the ideal game, and he is the underdog. He is the worst player, right? Like, so, yeah, I think it'd be foolish to think that that Scarlett is very likely to lose here. But yeah, I think Semper still has some chances.
Do we believe in a nuke?
That would be nice. I mean, it's going to be used here at the south. Solar probably has some nightmares about those.
Solar is like, why did I just wake up at 7 a.m.? Because someone is getting nuked. So don't worry, it's not romanticized. You're safe, mate.
Those lurkers very low, so they will get picked off by Marines of all things. Semper making some progress on this side of the map for the time being, but here comes the very scary army of Scarlett. Not much energy remaining on those ghosts. Only one of them has a snipes available, I think, so Semper will think better of this. Pull back for the time being.
What do you think is worse when you hear the nuke sound go off? Just the fact that, okay, a nuke, I could potentially lose a bunch of workers, or the fear of being nuked on stream and losing your entire army?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess it would vary from player to player. I don't know what I would be more scared of. both terrifying thoughts for sure.
Yeah. Most of the time when I am in a long game and I do hear nukes go off, I'm actually way more worried about my army getting nuked than any of my base to be like, all right, I can lose 20 probes. You're not going to nuke my carriers, okay?
Will not be made a meme.
One Ghost does go down to a bit of friendly fire there from the tanks. Oh, that is a cool nuke. Scarlett is probably seeing that though, because it's not very well hidden in red dot. And goes down. I mean, Semper is getting a pretty terrifying army now, man. He's got 11 Ghosts, 19 Vikings. I do really like that Scarlett decided to get a couple of Infestors too, because there is no better wombo combo versus Vikings than Parasitic Bomb and Fungal.
Yeah, and we effectively, for the time being, have a split map. These Infestors could be nasty here should they choose to fungal growth onto those SCVs. They won't. They'll let the Broodlords do their dirty work. So not as many SCVs as could have fallen fall. But at the same time, I mean, I'm sure neither player minds trading workers at this point. Things are getting to the last few mining bases.
Pretty sick little attack here by Semper. Gets 16 drones. It's going to be 20 in total and the base. Scarlett can't be too happy with that. So it does feel that Scarlett has now really had enough of all of it and wants to force a fight. Semper, all he really needs is one nuke or a couple of great EMPs, and then the dream is super alive.
Yeah, we just witnessed one of my favorite nukes ever. I mean, it seems mostly inconsequential, but it's so difficult for Scarlett to actually look at that nuke, I think, because it's such an unimportant place. There's just one lurker and one spore, and yet it's a plus EV nuke, right? Like double or something, so...
Yep. And it's just stressful. Hearing the nuke sounds go off is stressful. This Orbital is running very low on HP though, and it does get picked up by the Corruptus. Scarlett has a pretty terrifying Zerg army, 11 Broodlords, 5 Infestors, and 4 Vipers. It really will be a battle of spellcasting as we have 156 army supply on the side of Scarlett. Did Scarlett lose her Great Inspire? Yes, she did. Okay. So she's remaking a Great Inspire now.
Yeah, very interesting. Man, I can't wait to copy that nuke. I mean, like, how do you even spot it? There's no way Scarlett ever looks at that spot, right? Like,
I don't even know which nuke you're talking about, so you're right.
Yeah, there was a nuke on one lurker and one spore. Like, that's it. So, like, there was chance for something to run past it and also get hit, but I can't think of any way that Scarlett would spot it.
Semper getting now 4 more Liberators, 2 more Vikings, 4 more Ghosts. I do really like what Semper is doing here. I think it's going to be so hard to actually win the game, just because I do think that these Terran armies are so difficult to control. I mean, it feels that your name has to be Maru to handle all of this perfectly and get max value out of your army, but there absolutely is a chance, because Terran armies don't get much better than the one that Semper is currently working towards.
Yeah, for sure. So he's still looking to secure this area of the map. I hope all of the mules have been going on that south side base, because, and I gotta say, I mean, if you're Scarlett, I feel like you've had a lot of room, a lot of opportunities to move there and take that down, but now every minute that passes by, it's gonna be worse and worse for you to actually commit to the south side. So I think Semper can more and more confidently just keep his entire army here at the north and look to secure these 2 bases, and yeah, if he can hold on for long enough to mine them, he still has a shot.
You know what's somewhat interesting to look at is that Scarlett actually only has 19 larvae. I know that may not seem that relevant now, but imagine if Semper does get a dream fight. Scarlett's gonna have a hard time remaxing, man, because you can't build 156 supply of 19 larvae.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, a nuke center mass here would end the game effectively, I think.
Yeah.
Well, let's see it, Semper.
What's the Viking count at this point? 23 Vikings. It's once more going to be so hard that we do have a nuke going down. I don't know if Scarlett sees it. He does drop a Parasitic Bomb and decides to disengage. Good job there by Semper, splitting off the Viking immediately, not dealing any damage.
Yeah, so this nuke will be mostly inconsequential. Of course, nukes cost 100, so over time, you can't just drop those defensively over and over, especially if you're already trading ineffectively, and that's the win condition that you're aiming to get. So still a good nuke for Semper. He needed some way to disengage. It was an annoying cliff to hold, but the straights are not getting any better.
Semper has now lost 11,000 resources more than Scarlett did. And yeah, this is one of these things that's going to happen if you go up against Vipers. You really need to be on top of your goals, but I can also understand Semper is concerned about the goals getting fungled, and then the Broodlord's going to town on them. I really just think this comes down to one big fight. Eventually, both players will decide to send it. Now, Scarlett technically has the bank to remax 2 or even 3 times, but she doesn't have the larva. So if the fight turns into an absolute disaster, Scarlett could be in a bit of trouble. Couple goals with Clove.
There's a lot of overseers. There's Hadley. They will be spotted right away. This is a very annoying position that Scarlett is taking on the high ground here. So and Semper has never really gotten to, like, he has the best or one of the best army compositions, but he doesn't really have like these turret rings. Oh, another good set of snipes, but unfortunately for Semper, it's gonna cost them perhaps even more in ghosts.
Yeah. We had 19 girls, we've got 15 now, but there are 5 more on the way. That queen, by the way, is the only queen that Scarlett has out on the map. So she literally has 1 queen right now for some creep spread, and that's it. 0 injects are happening. Hatchery count is currently at 5, and we've got 1 hive.
That's a true queen right there. See some snipes going down on Ravagers. They're not cheap units either, so anything that you can get at this point, if your Semper, is going to be okay. Those Ravagers have been pesky when it comes to the Liberators, but it's still very difficult. I like Liberators, Planetary Fortresses, and turrets, but the problem now is he's so far behind in terms of just how efficiently or inefficiently he's traded that I'm not sure that he can win by turtling either.
I like that Scarlett keeps a couple of Lings and Banes in her army too, just to make sure that she still has some mobility and it doesn't all come down to the Broodlords and Infestors that are obviously more uncomfortable units to move around. You know what I'm surprised by? That Scarlett Scarlett decided to never research Neuroparasite. I actually think it'd be a very useful upgrade to have to potentially Neuro a ghost and EMP all the other ghosts. Like, I know that sounds like I'm dreaming, but that's the kind of stuff you do actually see quite often in these late game scenarios.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the dream situation, the dream scenario. And Scarlett, she can do the fancy plays, the showboaty plays, so it's definitely something that maybe she should consider. I like it better if there was like Thor's or something like that, but yeah, I mean, it's not a very expensive upgrade, and she definitely has the resources for it right now.
Yeah, I think we can safely say that Scarlett will not be broke if she decides to go for Neuroparasite. I have to admit, cats, I've been on the wrong end of that, where they neuroed one of my disruptors and killed my army. It's kind of sad.
It's one of the best feelings that a Zerg can ever accomplish. But these tanks are basically being sacrificed. The Greater Spire not even being taken down.
Oh,
Semper will go back for it, but
Skillet.
at the expense of his entire drop. It looks like -3 units that will end up surviving and loading. Scarlett already starts a Greater Spire in plain sight of Semper. Your efforts are futile, says the Queen.
5 more girls on the way, so we're going up to 25 girls. Semper is obviously going to start run out of resources quite soon. There are a couple of mineral patches left on the left side and a few at the bottom, and that's about it. And then it really does come down to the base in the top left side and this gold.
Yeah, and the last 3 nukes in that location haven't done too much but clear some creep, and I think that Semper is getting a little bit desperate to even just do that, because he really needs to land as he's seen near that gold and continue to mine it. Otherwise, like you mentioned, he's just running dry, and this is a little bit of a problem for him. I don't know if he has many options left here.
I'm sure that some viewers might be wondering, cats, why would Semper not go into battle cruisers? What is your answer to that question?
Why not battle cruisers? I think that they're really expensive. There's no upgrades for them. There's Neural Parasite potentially. There's already a fleet of Corruptors. I mean, there's Spores and Vipers for Abducts as well. I think if he was super mega rich and had the starports to do it, to do just a crazy switch, it could maybe catch Scarlett off guard and there's the universe, but not this one.
And that was close actually when I saw those units come in range again, because I was just looking at it from Semper's point of view. I was like, is it? No. Nice abduct by Scarlett, so we don't get the dream nuke quite yet. Currently 40,000 resources have gone down on the side of Semper against 27,000 on the side of Scarlett, who seems to be looking for a couple fungals.
Good snipes there. Yeah, she looks for one and finds one from the high ground, but unfortunately for her, the Broodlords are already on the retreat, so they won't be catching too much. What I would like for Semper to do is kind of like, he has so many ghosts, that if he can show like half of them on one side and make Scarlett look away and then kind of come with the other half and snipe from behind, because when you see the ghosts, if you're the Zerg, you're gonna tend to lean with your detection towards them. So I think that would be the kind of desperate opening that he needs to find.
I love it when we potentially end the day on a 32-minute game on Blackburn. Isn't that just perfect, cats?
Yeah, it is the dream. I mean, it's been a very fun game. Not a game that we haven't seen before, but a lot of Liberators here. I'm not sure if this is the way. I mean, Liberator Ghost can be a strong stronghold, and Semper with the huge EMPs onto the Infestors. This might open up a possibility for the Ghost to actually do something, but Scarlett is well aware of it, and so she'll just back away with all of her army. This force need canceling, or else, I mean, this will be the first decentish trade that Semper gets in a little while.
Nice EMPs on the Infestors, though.
No.
Actually, takes too long
great
for the nuke to land, so Scarlett is going to be able to save these Spore Crawlers. There is a Spore Crawler that gets picked off on the top side of our screen. I mean, the base in the top left is obviously one that's very meaningful, because those are the only resources that really haven't been touched yet throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah, these liberation zones are wonderful if you can capitalize with the ghosts. Gotta be paying attention, Semper. Instead, it's Scarlett with an extra couple of pickups here, and this is where the war becomes a lot about the attention, about which player is paying attention first, and obviously Semper has to react. It's the more difficult role as well. Scarlett can poke in, and if it's being paid attention to, then Semper can reply and maybe tax her, killing a couple of Vipers when they come for abducts and such. But if he's not, then he'll just lose units for free.
Scarlett has killed 129 SCVs in this game.
That is absurd. Another nuke will mostly whiff, takes down a gas that's going to cost a drone and a half. Not really nearly enough to justify the cost of the nuke. So the gap between Semper and Scarlett has only been widened. 15,000 resources between them right now. Good snipes.
Yep. Couple nice snipes. Fungo's not quite connecting. I would love to see a parasitic bomb or two, because there are so many Vikings. So even if that parasitic bomb would only connect for like 2 seconds, that would be a tremendous amount of damage. Snipes going down on the Vipers there. Scarlett is able to save most of them, but I believe 1 or 2 snipes did go off. I mean, there are so many units in the sky. It really does feel that parasitic bomb is always going to be valuable, even if you lose all the energy on every single Viper.
Yeah, I think we're nearing the end here. Semper doesn't really have the units to continue to replace these, or the money to continue to replace the units. A lot of these Broodlords are bruised, and I mean, that's good. You mentioned that there's not that many queens. Is there any queens in the map now? There's like just the one, so
the actual
queen. And then she's here, and she's been good about it too, like no energy on it.
Get another abduct, so 1 more ghost will fall. Semper is going to try to secure the base in the top left side. Mining of this gold seems to be pretty much mission impossible. It feels that Semper is losing more resources than gaining out of it. It really just comes down to that one big fight where the spellcasting needs to be just phenomenal on the side of Semper. He needs to land snipes and EMPs perfectly to have a chance. But if he does that, he absolutely does have a real shot at potentially winning a fight.
Yeah, should he win the perfect fight? I mean, he can't even max out right now, but his chances are really not going that great.
Sorry, top side of the screen. Scarlett forgot about her Infestors, so Semper just ran 2 ghosts forward, landed an EMP in the heart of all the Infestors, so Scarlett has no energy on those bad boys now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you capitalize if you're Semper though, because you don't really have the type of army that can push out on the map. You mostly just have ghosts. Vipers, you don't want to be running into sports with those. Liberators, kind of the same thing. They're siege, defend this base type unit. And that's a problem, because Semper has made it his win condition to trade effectively, and Scarlett is never gonna let him. So even if he takes the perfect fight that we were talking about earlier, what is he to do with it? Like, just cross the map with 20 ghosts and hope Scarlett doesn't...
Yeah, hold down the marine button and just keep on building marine gulls and just kill every single base. That's the best thing you can do. Because obviously if you give Scarlett time, then you're going to have to face this problem all over again. And then it will always favor Scarlett, even though Scarlett doesn't have like a tremendous amount of gas. Like 4k gas is a lot, but the current army of Scarlett costs 8,000 gas. So if Scarlett would lose a fight, she's actually in very serious trouble.
Yeah, I just don't see it. What are you gonna make 40 Marines? I mean, the bank's just not there. He can't even max out. So it's yeah, even if he lands the perfect nuke, I don't know how he could ever just cross the map at this point. Scarlett, even this army, I think, would be very threatening to the ghosts. And again, the Vikings and Liberators, they just don't add much.
How many Zerglings could Scarlett theoretically make of 21,000 minerals?
All of them.
Yeah, all right, that's the correct answer. All of Dylan's.
Larva, though, would be her issue, like you were saying. So the real answer is 30 right now. Oh no, that's not even 30, is it? That's 60. 15. Oh no, that's 30.
Now the nuke does potentially go down. Scarlett is just playing this incredibly patient. So he hasn't even been that active with her spellcasters. A couple of abducts here and there, but Scarlett is completely fine with just picking up a base, picking up a couple of leftover depots and some production facilities. Semper is still gonna try to mine a little bit of this gold. I wonder how many... Oh, the ghosts are all gonna cloak. They're gonna get a couple of snipes off. Funny, we have just somehow tangoed around, and now Semper is at the top and Scarlett is in the center.
Yeah, it's very cool. And Semper, I mean, he's still looking for opportunities to get those snipes when the Overseers are not exactly at the front of the army relative to the ghosts. But it's just not been enough at all. Now the starports will have to get lifted up or die. They will get lifted up, but now real estate is also of the essence here. Semper can't really spread himself too thin. These Banelings could connect center mass here. Marines are being made, but I mean, those are going to be very easily dealt with at this stage in the game without medevac support. It's not looking bueno.
I just saw a snipe go off on a Baneling. This is not something I see very often.
Yeah, I guess if you're Semper, it's very difficult still to tell, right? Like just how inefficient you have been relative to Scarlett. I think Scarlett has now begun to realize, like, I'm definitely safe. I definitely have traded well enough throughout the entire game that I don't need to attack into you anymore. Like, so we see her taking these more defensive positions, not even trying to really contest that mineral line. And she's kind of saying like, okay, it's up to you now for the time being. So let's see if Semper will bite. Now Scarlett going again for this gold.
We're gonna lose a few more SCVs. Been a bad day to be an SCV here for Semper. 156 have gone down in total, and Semper is still looking to land that potentially game-ending nuke, even though we both kind of wonder if it's actually going to be game-ending or not. Scarlett is not going to try to take control of the main base of Semper, and that means Semper is going to be supply blocked severely. Not like he has any money in the bank, but that's going to make rebuilding anything even more difficult. So it really just kind of comes down to the army that he currently has. Semper's got 0 medevacs, by the way. That's a little bit problematic for these ghosts.
Yeah, even just one over time would have definitely paid for itself in terms of HP regenerated. And yeah, I mean, he won't have production at all really soon here. All of these barracks now under siege. The starports in the middle of the map. We're heading towards the main. They just turned around. Now they're heading north. Those starports know better.
Yeah, that main is beyond saving. Semper is gonna try one more time to land a couple snipes. One Brutler does go down. Do we ever get a parasitic bomb? Still no parasitic bombs have gone off. It feels that it would be such money for Scarlett to just land one. And nuke does go down on the right side. Actually get a couple Zerglings and Brooklyn's, I guess.
In the production tab, Scarlett, 1 queen. That's all she wants and all she needs.
Two EMPs once more connect with the infestors. Only a single infestor left with energy. Yeah. I mean, okay, Semper had enough of it. He's gonna go for it. He's gonna move forward. Liberator's gonna siege up. Another EMP does land. But here are these parasitic bombs that we've been waiting for. And that Viking count is going to drop real quick.
Yeah, and if you're Semper, you know it. You're fighting over spores at this point in time. Against an unstoppable force, you would have to clear this army more than once. And Scarlett will take